Jesus' ministry in Galilee. They went, and Jesus came down to Capernaum, a city of Galilee. Immediately on the Sabbath day he entered into the synagogue and taught. He was teaching them on the Sabbath day, and they were astonished at his teaching, for his word was with authority. For he taught them as having authority, and not as the scribes. Immediately there was in their synagogue a man who had a spirit of an unclean demon, and he cried out with a loud voice, saying, "Aha! What do we have to do with you, Jesus of Nazareth, you Nazarene? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God." Jesus rebuked him, saying, "Be quiet, silent, and come out of him." When the unclean spirit demon had thrown him down in the middle of them, convulsing him and crying with a loud voice, he came out of him, having done him no harm. Amazement came on all, and they were all amazed, so that they questioned among themselves and spoke together, one with another, saying, "What is this? What is this word? A new teaching, for with authority and power he commands even the unclean spirits, and they obey him and come out." The report news about him went out immediately everywhere into all the region of Galilee and into every place of the surrounding area. He rose up from the synagogue, and immediately, when they had come out of the synagogue, they came and entered into the house of Simon and Andrew, with James and John. Now Simon's mother-in-law lay sick, afflicted with a great fever, and immediately they told him about her, and they begged him to help her. When Jesus came into Peter's house, he saw his wife's mother lying sick with a fever. He stood over her, touched her hand, rebuked the fever, and the fever left her. He came and took her by the hand and raised her up. So she got up and served him. The fever left her immediately, and she rose up and served them. When evening came and when the sun was setting had set, they brought to him all those who were sick with various diseases and many who were possessed by demons, and he laid his hands on every one of them, and healed them. All the city was gathered together at the door. He cast out the spirits with a word, and healed all who were sick, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken through Isaiah the prophet, saying, "He took our infirmities and bore our diseases." He healed many who were sick with various diseases and cast out many demons. Demons also came out of many, crying out and saying, "You are the Christ, the Son of God." Rebuking them, he didn't allow the demons to speak, because they knew him, that he was the Christ. When it was day, early in the morning, while it was still dark, he rose up and went out, and departed into a deserted uninhabited place, and prayed there. Simon and those who were with him searched for him. They found him and told him, "Everyone is looking for you." And the multitudes looked for him, and came to him, and held on to him, so that he wouldn't go away from them. But he said to them, "Let's go elsewhere into the next towns, that I may preach there also, because I came out for this reason. I must preach the good news of God's kingdom to the other cities also, for this reason I have been sent." Jesus went about in all Galilee, teaching in their synagogues, preaching the good news of the kingdom, and healing every disease and every sickness among the people. He went into their synagogues throughout all Galilee, preaching and casting out demons. The report about him went out into all Syria. They brought to him all who were sick, afflicted with various diseases and torments, possessed with demons, epileptics, and paralytics, and he healed them. Great multitudes from Galilee, Decapolis, Jerusalem, Judea, and from beyond the Jordan followed him. While he was in one of the cities, behold, there was a man full of leprosy, a leper. Behold, when he saw Jesus, he came to him, fell on his face, kneeling down to him, worshipped him, begging him, and saying to him, "Lord, if you want to, you can make me clean." Being moved with compassion, Jesus stretched out his hand and touched him, saying to him, "I want to be made clean." When he had said this, immediately the leprosy left him, departed from him. His leprosy was cleansed and he was made clean. Jesus strictly warned him and immediately sent him out. He commanded him to tell no one, and said to him, "See that you say nothing to anybody, but go your way, show yourself to the priest, and offer for your cleansing the gift things that Moses commanded, according to what Moses commanded, as for a testimony to them." But he went out, and began to proclaim it much, and to spread about the matter, so that Jesus could no more openly enter into a city, but was outside in desert places. But the report concerning him spread much more, and great multitudes came together to hear and to be healed by him of their infirmities. People came to him from everywhere. But he withdrew himself into the desert and prayed. He entered into a boat and crossed over, and came into his own city. When he entered again into Capernaum after some days, it was heard that he was at home. On one of those days, he was teaching, and there were Pharisees and teachers of the law sitting by who had come out of every village of Galilee, Judea, and Jerusalem. Immediately many were gathered together, so that there was no more room, not even around the door, and he spoke the word to them. The power of the Lord was with him to heal them. Behold, 4 people came, carrying a paralytic to him. The men brought to him a man who was paralyzed, lying on a bed cot, and they sought to bring him in to lay before Jesus. When they could not come near to him for the crowd, not finding a way to bring him in because of the multitude, they went up to the housetop, removed the roof where he was, and when they had broken it up, they let him down through the tiles into the middle before Jesus with the cot mat the paralytic was lying on. Jesus, seeing their faith, said to the paralytic, "Son, cheer up. Man, your sins are forgiven you." But behold, there were some of the scribes and Pharisees sitting there, and beginning to reason in their hearts, said to themselves, "Who is this who speaks blasphemies? Why does this man speak blasphemies like that? This man blasphemes. Who can forgive sins but God alone?" But immediately Jesus, knowing their thoughts and perceiving in his spirit that they so reasoned within themselves, answered and said to them, "Why do you reason these things in your hearts? Why do you think evil in your hearts? For which is easier, to say, tell the paralytic, your sins are forgiven you, or to say, arise, get up and take up your bed, and walk? But that you may know that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins." Then he said to the paralyzed man, "I tell you, arise, get up, and take up your mat cot, and go to your house." Immediately he rose up before them, and took up that mat which he was laying on, went out in front of them all, and departed to his house, glorifying God, so that they were all amazed and glorified God, saying, "We never saw anything like this." Amazement took hold on all, and they glorified God. They were filled with fear, saying, "We have seen strange things today." But when the multitude saw it, they marveled and glorified God, who had given such authority to men.